A season after Jason Witten's retirement, the Dallas Cowboys still have a need at tight end. Replacing a future Hall of Famer is no easy feat, so it's only logical that it would take longer than a season to feel good about who's in at tight end. The Cowboys currently have two tight ends who could be pretty serviceable going forward. Fourth-round pick Dalton Schultz did a very solid job as the team's TE2, especially toward the second half of the season. He turned into a pretty good run blocker, and despite only racking up 116 yards and 12 catches, he's a guy the Cowboys' offense could use even more in the future. Also on the team is Blake Jarwin, who functioned as the Cowboys' main tight end for most of 2018. His performance against the New York Giants in Week 17 made us wonder whether or not he could be an important target on the Cowboys' offense. These two could very well have more in them than what we've seen. With a new offensive coordinator in town, tight end is a position the Cowboys could start using way more. As Bobby Belt pointed out on Twitter a few weeks ago, Scott Linehan's offense doesn't benefit tight ends very much. Before we give a verdict on what Schultz and Jarwin can do, I'd like to see them work with Kellen Moore's offense. One thing you consistently see when Scott Linehan takes over an offense is a drop in the starting tight end's production. Randy McMichael, Byron Chamberlain, and Jason Witten all saw drops in yards per catch, receptions per game, and yards per game once Linehan took over. Here's the thing. If the Cowboys are not taking a tight end in the second round of the 2019 NFL Draft, are they really upgrading what they already have? I'm not sure we'll be convinced about that if they draft the player for the position until the third or fourth round. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not advocating for the Cowboys drafting a Tay in the second round, because I believe there are more pressing needs on the team. However, signing a veteran free agent might be the better option for upgrading the position. Should a veteran Tay be an option? This year, there are quite a few interesting names in the tight end market. Veterans such as Jared Cook, Tyler Eifert, and even Antonio Gates will be looking for a new team pretty soon. I know, that would be getting older, but it could also mean getting better. Building a solid take committee with a veteran leading Blake Jarwin and Dalton Schultz could be the way to go for this football team. Tay, Tyler Eifert, Aaron Duster, USA Today Sports. Eifert is a great tight end when he's on the field. Durability is his biggest weakness, as he hasn't played more than 10 games since 2016. The Cowboys could take a risk on him and constantly rotate him with Jarwin and Schultz. It may be a huge risk, but it could pay off big time. If the price is right, Eifert should be targeted by the front office. The 2018 Oakland Raiders had a season to forget, winning only 4 games. Even still, Jared Cook's season was impressive. He finished the year with 896 yards and multiple 100-yard games. The biggest issue with Cook is his age. He turns 32 in April. But hey, he's literally coming off from a career year. Jesse James is a younger guy who could also be worth it. He's not an potent receiver, but he gets it done in the passing game and is one hell of a blocker. James could be a legit, cheaper option for the Cowboys in free agency. There are a lot of names out there the front office could look at. Charles Clay was just released by the Buffalo Bills, and Nick Boyle will be looking for a new job after new arrivals pushed him out of the Baltimore Ravens roster, just to mention a few names. We'll see what the front office's plans are soon enough, but right now, I'd say tight end is a need the Dallas Cowboys should at least try to address in free agency instead of the NFL Draft. 2019 free agents Blake Jarwin, Dalton Schultz. Tight end, unlike other positions on their roster, cornerback appears ready to offer the Dallas Cowboys stability in 2019. However, that doesn't mean the team can just ignore it this offseason. There are still a few decisions to be made. Thanks to a shrewd move in April of last year, Dallas will be enjoying Byron Jones' services at a bargain. They picked up the 5th-year option on his rookie contract and will be paying him just $6.3 million next season. That's a steal for a Pro Bowl corner, who generally make more than double that amount in a single year. The Cowboys are still left the decision of whether or not to give Jones a long-term deal now or wait until he hits free agency in 2020. It's easy to say that they should enjoy the discount and worry about it next year. But then you risk a second Pro Bowl trip and the lure of the open market. Byron's asking price could only go up. Of course, Dallas could then also have the option of using the franchise tag. Keep in mind that Jones will turn 27 this September. Dallas could decide that it makes sense to play through the rookie deal this year, franchise him in 2020, and then reassess when he's about to turn 29 years old. If they give Byron a long-term deal now, then they'll have to pay him like one of the top corners in football. It may be wise to wait. Dallas Cowboys CB Chidobe Awuzie. Another decision facing the Cowboys is if they think they can improve at the second starting position. It was an up-and-down year for Chidobe Awuzie, but he was playing his best toward the end of the season. Dallas could hope that a second year with Chris Richards coaching, and just more general growth for a third-year player, will elevate Awuzie's game. However, with plenty of cap space to work with, Dallas could pursue a solid veteran option and then allow Awuzie to play the nickel role. It would not only perhaps improve the CB2 position but also bolster depth overall. Speaking of depth, Anthony Brown returns for the final year of his rookie deal. While never spectacular, Brown has been a gem as a former 6th-round pick with 29 career starts. He brings exceptional value and may even compete with Awuzie for the starting job. While arguably the team's best young corner in 2017, Jourdan Lewis comes into this season with a lot of uncertainty. He fell out of favor last season, perhaps for not fitting the physical style that Richard likes. But he did manage to snag the game-clinching interception in Dallas' upset win over the New Orleans Saints. If scheme mismatch is the issue, the Cowboys could look to trade Lewis this offseason. He still has 2 years left on his rookie deal and was considered a first-round prospect by some in 2017. A cornerback-needy club might have more use for him than Dallas seems to. If they did move Jourdan, the Cowboys might turn to Donovan Olumba to fill out the depth chart. He was one of their surprising performers in last year's training camp and spent the year on the practice squad. At 6 feet 2 inches, he has the size that the team seems to be looking for now in its corners. More than likely, Dallas will ride with this group in 2019 with no big changes. I do think a Lewis trade is possible, especially with the Cowboys short on draft picks this year. But don't expect any major cap space or draft capital to go at one of the team's more solid positions. With all the other work Dallas needs done this offseason, a little stability at cornerback is a luxury. James D. Smith. Dallas Cowboys. Even with Des Bryant's release and Jason Witten's retirement, the loss of Travis Frederick last season may have been the most damaging to the Dallas Cowboys. The team looks forward to getting their All-Pro center back in 2019 while also having a reliable backup still under contract. Just within the last few weeks, Frederick has provided encouraging updates on his status for next year. It looks like he'll be able to participate in all off-season activities, but the Cowboys would settle for Week 1. There appears to be plenty of cushion for that to happen. Travis's absence in 2018 was seen in various ways. Dak Prescott was sacked 56 times, second most in all the league, after just 32 and 25 times the previous 2 seasons. Part of that is missing Frederick's blocking ability, but also the way he would assist with reading the defense and making pre-snap adjustments. Dallas would have loved having Frederick out there to help guard Connor Williams, who worked with Travis throughout the offseason only to lose him in late August. It was not an easy way for the rookie to start his career. We also saw issues in the run game. Even while Ezekiel Elliott led the NFL in rushing, short yardage situations weren't as easy as they used to be. The Rams were able to neutralize the Cowboys' rushing attack in Dallas' playoff loss, something that Frederick might have helped overcome. Dallas Cowboys GC Joe Looney. This isn't saying that Joe Looney did a bad job. On the contrary, Looney was more than adequate and helped keep Dallas from suffering far greater damage without Frederick. After Joe's work in 2018, Dallas won't blink at keeping him on the $1 million salary he's due next year. It's a bargain for a backup of his quality, and especially given his versatility as an option at guard as well. Not only are Frederick and Looney locked in for 2019, but Dallas also still has backup Adam Redmond under contract through next season. He was added after final cuts last year to be Looney's backup and should return to at least help the team through July and August. With these guys already in place, there's no reason to think that Dallas will give much attention to the center position during the offseason. At most, a mid-round draft pick might be used on a player who could potentially replace Looney in 2020 as the backup. Joe's contract ends next season, and he could be competitive for starting jobs with other teams at that point. With lots of other concerns throughout the roster, Dallas is fortunate to have so much security at center. All signs are positive on Travis Frederick's return, and that is a huge boost to the team as it looks to push forward from last year's playoff run. If quarterback is the most important position in football, then the guys who hunt them down might be second. As such, the Dallas Cowboys face a major off-season decision in 2019 when it comes to the free agency of defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence. This will be Lawrence's second year as an unrestricted free agent, with Dallas retaining him last season using the franchise tag. Even though he accepted it in 2018, DeMarcus swore all the way back in that summer that he wouldn't play for the Cowboys in 2019 if franchised again. Despite his sack numbers dropping a bit last season, Tank remains one of the top defensive ends in the NFL. He is a total package of pass rushing and run stopping, and he's now given Dallas 2 straight Pro Bowl seasons. If the Cowboys have any plans to contend for a championship next season, then they can't risk losing a player like Lawrence. We've seen what this defense looks like without a premier pass rusher, and it isn't pretty. Of course, Dallas could try to replace DeMarcus with a different free agent signing. If Jadeveon Clowney or Frank Clark avoid being tagged by their own teams, perhaps the Cowboys can lure one of them over. But don't expect any big difference in compensation between these 3 players. Whether it's Lawrence or one of the other premier pass rushers in free agency, you can expect the Cowboys to make one of them their top off-season priority. The greater mystery is if Dallas will make any other moves to upgrade the position, or stick with what they've got. Dallas Cowboys to Randy Gregory. Dallas finally enjoyed some real production out of Randy Gregory in 2018, whose personal issues nearly derailed the talented pass rusher's career. Gregory posted 6 sacks last season and was starting to look like the Robin to Lawrence's Batman. Also in the mix is 2017 first-round pick Taco Charlton, who took a backward step last year and seemed to be in the coach's doghouse by season's end. Motivation and attitude seem to be an issue for him, and he'll need to step it up this summer if he doesn't want to wind up at the back of the depth chart again. One of last year's 4th-round picks Durance Armstrong also returns. He will hopefully be ready to take on a larger role in his second season and provide another pass-rushing threat, plus insurance in case Gregory suffers any return of past problems. If Dallas doesn't make Tyrone Crawford a salary cap casualty, or chooses to re-sign David Irving, those are 2 other guys who can play some defensive end for you. Despite these options, the Cowboys could still look at adding another mid-grade free agent for depth and insurance. They could hope for a bargain on veterans like Ezekiel Ansah, Vinny Curry, or Chris Long. They might hope that Rod Marinelli could work his magic on first-round flop Dante Fowler. Another guy that Dallas might look at is Benson Mayowa, who was with them from 2016-2017 and is a solid player. He spent the last season in Arizona on a one-year deal and is still just 27 years old. Don't expect much from the draft, barring a major steal presenting itself. The Cowboys have bigger needs with their limited number of 2019 picks, and they also still need to see how recent selections like Charlton and Armstrong play out. This offseason is all about DeMarcus Lawrence, or at least one of the other marquee free agents at defensive end. Some supplemental moves are possible, but arguably the biggest move Dallas makes the next few months is either retaining or replacing their top pass rusher.